This video is dedicated to my grandfather, our hero, Sergeant Clayton P. McDowell. My grandfather served in World War II in the Panama Canal from 1940 to 1945. So this video is dedicated to you, Grandpa. Thank you for all your love and support. You are greatly missed. Everyone, it's Team AJ. Hope you guys are all doing well. We are super excited to bring this to you. So tonight we are at the Walt Disney Studios and World War II exhibit at the National World War II Museum here in New Orleans.
It's awesome.
We are at a media event. They invited us out. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you who invited us. It is an honor and a privilege to be here, and we're going to explain to you a little more why. My husband and myself come from military families. I'm going to let my husband explain a little bit about his history, and I'm going to explain a little bit of ours.
Awesome. So in my case, my grandfather on my mother's side was in the military. He was in Korea. My father is a commander in the Coast Guard for 25 years. My father was in charge of two of the most major search and rescue missions in the country, including TWA Flight 800 off the coast of Long Island. So I have a vast military history with my family. I have nieces and nephews that are all either in the military or been through the military, and have more that are planning on going to the military. So in my case, I have a military family that spans the generation. It's in our DNA. For us, celebrating an exhibit that celebrates the greatest generation, even though my family wasn't part of that generation, we respect and honor that generation, because that generation made it so the struggles as a black man finally were able to overcome, because we wouldn't have had a free country if the Axis powers got their way. So it's great and it's amazing to be able to honor the greatest generation known as the veterans of World War II.
Correct. And my grandfather, who made it to his 100th birthday, was in World War II. He was in the medical field, and he also did a few other jobs. We're going to come back to another video and talk more about some of our family history when we do come back to the museum. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of a personal story. Actually, he passed away back in 2019. He made it to his 100th birthday. So proud. I always knew he was going to, but he did. He made it to his 100th birthday. After he passed away, because that generation, some of them was very private. My family, as they were going through his stuff underneath his bed, found all the donations that he donated to this museum right here in New Orleans. He was a charter member. When we come back to the museum, there is a charter member screen, and it shows all the charter members, people that donated to the museum. And my grandfather, Mr. Clayton P. McDowell, donated for several years. He donated up until he passed away. And we found proof of all those donations. But we didn't know because he didn't really talk about it much. And that generation sometimes was a little more quiet. So if I would have known how much this meant to him while he was still living, I could have came here and showed him some videos, some pictures, but we didn't know. So you know what? We're here today to doing a tribute to our family.
We're going to talk to someone who was in charge of the curation for this exhibit. And he did the curation along with the Walt Disney Museum in San Francisco. And this exhibit was there first. And now it's here in New Orleans. It may travel one more place, but it may not. This may be the only other place you can see this.
Yes.
So if you have a chance to come here and see this, if you're a Disney fan, if you respect Walt Disney and what he accomplished and the amount of effort that they put on for the war front, and part of the fun of this is you're going to find out how much the Disney company and Walt Disney himself, along with Roy, put into the morale boosting, the education side, the animation side, to boost the war effort in their way. Some would call them defense contractors. I would call them true patriots for what they did for the war effort. So come along with us. I think
this is going to be an amazing event. And thank you again for inviting us. We are Disney pass holders. We did have a Disney wedding at a military resort at Disney Shades of Green. So this, our love for New Orleans, our love for the World War II Museum, and our love for Disney all comes together in one tonight. So we are about to bring you an amazing event. So we're just going to give you a quick preview, but we want you guys to come back. If you guys are going to be in New Orleans, it ends September 24th. Come back, support them. This goes to an amazing cause. And we want to say thank you for all those who served, who sacrificed their lives so we can be here today. Thank you to our families who did a beautiful job representing our country. And it's just, this is an amazing, it's a really amazing moment to be here. So thank you guys, and come along and let's go have a great time.
My name is Stephen Watson, and I have the privilege of being the president and CEO here at the National World War II Museum, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to tonight's program as we open our latest special exhibit, the Walt Disney Studios in World War II. And we're going to start tonight, as we always do, by recognizing our World War II veterans, our home front workers, our Holocaust survivors. If we have anyone here, please stand or wave. I know we have many that are watching our live stream here tonight, but let's give them a round of applause for their service and sacrifice. So it's really a pleasure for us to be able to bring this exhibit, the Walt Disney Studios in World War II, to New Orleans. I think, as you all know, our mission is to tell the story of the American experience in World War II, why the war was fought, how it was won, and what it means today, so that all generations will understand the price of freedom and be inspired by what they learn. But as you're going to find out tonight, the story of Disney and the Walt Disney Studios in World War II goes much deeper than the beloved characters and films that have become such an iconic part of American pop culture. And you'll see in the exhibit, if you've been in already or after the program tonight, propaganda posters to animation shorts promoting the support for the Allied war effort, to even designing unit insignia. The Walt Disney Studios played an important role as a morale builder and a means of communicating war-related issues for both civilian and military audiences. We are incredibly fortunate to have with us tonight a man who's dedicated many years of his life to exploring this subject, Kent Ramsey, the curator of the exhibit. Background with both World War II history and Disney. Since 1986, He has worked with World War II veterans at the Museum of Flight in Seattle, where he is currently a trustee and board secretary. He has many personal connections to Disney. I think he navigated keelboats in the rivers of America and Magic Kingdom theme parks. And he'll tell you a little bit more about that later, so I won't say too much more about that. But for the last 15 years has conducted research for this exhibit at the National Archives, at the National Museum of the United States Air Force, the Boeing Company Archives, the Imperial War Museum, the Walt Disney Archives, the Walt Disney Archives Photo Library, and the Walt Disney Animation Research Library. Say that 10 times quickly. And I think you'll agree that the exhibit reflects your dedication and the extent of the research and the work that you've done. And for tonight's program, Kent will be joined on stage with my colleague for an interview with Cory Gaff, who joined the museum as a curator in 2021. But with that, give a warm welcome to Kent and Cory to have a chat.
Thank you, Stephen, for that introduction, and thank you for coming all the way from Seattle, Kent. Are you ready to do this? Look at all these people out there.
I'm more than ready.
So throughout my career, I've had an interest in the home front. I actually wrote a very small book on Southern California during World War II, and it's sort of a great collision between pop culture, wartime, and the society, the American society, and of course Disney is part of that. So I'm very excited to have the Walt Disney Studios in World War II exhibit here, and to interview my good friend and the curator of that exhibit, Kent Ramsey. So I'm going to dive right in here. Now, tell us about these keel boats. Tell us about working at Disney.
My background as far as Disney history goes way back. Some people in the room might remember back in the old days, every Sunday night, I couldn't wait to race into the living room to watch Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color on our black and white television set. And I would watch that every Sunday night. And I remember one series that was on, it was all about Davy Crockett. And I got a coonskin cap and I got a rifle and I went around the neighborhood being Davy Crockett. Well, you fast forward 20 years, the next thing you know, I'm at Walt Disney World, I'm on the rivers of America, and I'm a keelboat skipper, and I'm Davy Crockett. So they paid me a lot of money just to tell corny jokes and entertain people and take a boat around the river. But that's kind of how I got started with Disney. And believe it or not, when I was in Florida, the host, as far as where I lived every night, was the attorney for Walt and Roy Disney. He purchased all the land for Walt Disney World, 27,440 acres. And he would tell me Disney stories at night, tell me what Walt was like, what Roy was like, and everything else. So I had a really rich beginning with Disney, and then my brother worked for Imagineering, so a lot of background there. And so anyway, that's where I get this deep sense as far as Disney interest, and I've worked with them off and on over the years since then.
So of course the other aspect of this is we've got the Disney part, World War II. So your father was a tanker. Now, was there other people in your family who were involved in World War II?
Yeah, my interest in World War II specifically, it was my dad in the Sherman tank, but my uncle was in a P-38 in the Pacific and European theaters of operation, and unfortunately my uncle was killed on April 8th of 1945, and he started flying for the U.S. Army Air Force would be April, or no, it would have been December 8th, 1941, the day after Pearl Harbor. So anyway, he had a long go of it, but didn't quite make it to the end of the war. And just to remind everyone, when you finish the exhibition, walking through it, please, at the end, there's a picture of my uncle. Pay your respects to him. That's why I did this thing.
How does the idea, the seed, the kernel for this exhibit come about?
Well, I would say it started 20 years ago, and believe it or not, it takes almost that long to curate or select and collect the objects that are in this exhibition. So the idea came to me that Disney, for my family anyway, they designed the insignia for my uncle's squadron and his photo group. And that's a big deal for our family. We're still proud of that. And after you dig into it, get all the details, you find out that Disney did it for free. And they answered requests from privates all the way up to general. So it wasn't just officers that were supposed to or could ask for the designs. So to me, I wanted to put together an exhibition describing that and then all the other things that Walt Disney did during World War II. I thought it would be a great educational exhibition.
So now, Kent, Disney is a monolithic company. How, and they get pitches all the time, I'm sure. How did you go about pitching this to the company to get their cooperation?
That's a great question. Because I worked there before, I broke the ice by telling a few keelboat jokes, and they liked that. And that broke the ice. But then I submitted a very detailed outline as far as what I wanted the exhibition to be like. And I submitted it to the manager of the archives. And then a couple weeks later, I got an email back from her, and she said, we have a Disney executive that'll be in Seattle next week. Do you want to meet with him? I said, sure. And so I met with them, took them on a tour of the Museum of Flight, and the next thing, he invited me down to Burbank, California. Met with them down there, and then we ran into a roadblock. And they said, we want to green light this, but we have another entity that wants to do the same thing you're doing. And it was the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco. So I just looked at him and said, why don't we just do it together? And he says, you'd be willing to do that? And I said, sure. So hopped on the next flight to San Francisco, talked to them, and the rest is history. We did the exhibition together. And it was a real joy. I think the biggest takeaway for everybody here tonight as far as after the exhibition is people need to realize that Disney dedicated over 90% of their production to the war effort in World War II. Most people have no clue that Disney did that. And they produced, as we know, entertainment, education, training, and propaganda films, as well as insignia designs in massive print media. So as you go through the exhibition, you're going to see all that, and it's pretty impressive as far as what they did. And one other thing that I should probably bring up is there's this guy named Donald Duck, and he sent this message to me, a cryptic voice message. It wasn't a text, it was a voice message. And he just said, he said, have a good time tonight.
Hey guys, it's Jen from Team AJ. We have something amazing tonight with amazing people at the World War II Museum. We are Disney pass holders. We are big supporters of this World War II Museum. It hits home. My husband and myself have military families. His father was commander, retired commander, and we go to Disney often. So this combination with these amazing geniuses, we're here, and we're celebrating World War II with Disney, and they're going to explain a little bit why we're here tonight.
Hello, my name is Cory Gaff. I'm one of the curators here at the National World War II Museum, and with me is Kent Ramsey, who is the special guest curator who created the Walt Disney Studios in World War II exhibit that's showing here at the World War II Museum. It was a big accomplishment, wasn't it?
Very big accomplishment. It's great to be here tonight. And the purpose of the exhibition is to remind everyone that during World War II, Disney devoted 90% of their production to creating entertainment, educational training, and propaganda films, as well as insignia designs and massive print media. And as you come here, you can go through and experience all that on television. Exhibition. It's been a long day for me. I'm talking to media forever.
It's hundreds of pieces of art and artifacts, and you've got to come and see it for yourself.
This is almost like a life's work for me.
Yeah, it's 20 years of work for me, and it's great to bring all this together and share it with everybody in New Orleans and other parts of the country.
Put it to you like this: a lot of people retire in 20 years, especially in the military. This man spent 20 years doing this. That's a retirement for my father. That was his retirement. So that puts that in perspective a little bit.
That's
so
right.
we'd like to thank you guys for joining us and thank you for putting this all together. This is amazing. By the way, this museum has so much. We're only showing you one exhibit. This museum takes over city blocks here. It's got like 4 city blocks of content here. There's interactive displays. You can behave like you were in a submarine. You can behave like you were on a train, like right after you were drafted at the beginning. It's just an amazing, amazing experience.
At this point, we went inside the exhibit, We only want to show you a little bit of it because we want you to come out here and experience it for yourself. We totally believe that is an amazing experience and it's one that you should go. We also wanted to let everyone know that this exhibit goes on to September 24th. There's a decent amount of time with it being here, but those dates like to sneak up on people. So keep that in mind and go as soon as possible. I guarantee you, especially if you're a Disney fan, you will not want to miss this. So please enjoy these clips and thank you for watching. We love you all and laissez les bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll.